my daughter and her friend group, when they're watching TikTok and they're seeing these horrific images of children who they identify with being blown to smithereens and blown to the damage this has caused Israel and America's standing in the world, I don't think has even been calculated yet.
Yeah.
And the long-term effects of this are going to be with us for generations. You can't
Yes.
kill this amount of people, have it exposed to the world, and no change occur. I
Yeah.
think that Israel have done themselves a terrible, damaging disservice in the way they have prosecuted their revenge on October the 7th. I think America has been shameful in allowing Israel to get away with such barbarous violence and cruelty
Yeah.
beyond
Yeah.
imagination. And there's no way. There's no way of them winning this. There's no
Yeah.
winning here. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is obvious to all of us as well, Marty, by how countries are reacting now to Israel, what Canada is doing, what UK is doing, what France is doing, probably unthought of a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. But because they've gone that far, it's almost like, you at some stage you kind of go, look, he's my best mate, but he's now doing things that I'm not even going to support. I'm with you. You know what I mean? It's like if they didn't turn, they would have to therefore either by omission or not be endorsing what's going off. So it's on some level it's horrible because they've done so. It's gotten so bad they've had to, and there's evidence of that with not their sanctions but their recognition of Palestine.
Yeah, I think. It's one of those. This is 77 years. This has gone on for 77 years, and it continues right to this day, right to today, Thursday. It continues because Israel has never ever been held to account by Western countries.
Right.
That's the simple facts, and what we're saying now, and what the public of New Zealand are saying, which is great, and the public around the Western world. The global South have been saying it forever, or the people of the global South, and now the people of the Western world are joining them to say we've got to end this, and sanctions are the way to end it. So we've got the elites in the Western world still supporting Israel, and we've got the elites in the Arab world doing the same thing. But we've got such an outpouring of the mass of humanity now that I don't think, as Bomber sort of alluded, I don't think there's any way back for Israel on this. And when people say to me, oh, look, we're marching in the streets and nothing's happening, nothing's changing, we're not seeing the government move, I say, well, look, every time we wave a Palestinian flag, every time we take part in a march, we are making it more and more difficult, and now I think impossible for Israel to come back from this. We've got to keep this before the public for as long as it goes on, to make it utterly impossible for Israel to come back from this.
Just reminded as well of the stories that Nelson Mandela used to say about hearing about protests going on in New Zealand and how it gave him energy on Robben Island, wasn't it? So I think there's always something going on. Hey, John, thank you for your time. But before we go, where to from here? I mean, obviously there's still protests happening all around the country on Saturdays. Anything to let us in the whānau know about as to from today onwards, what we need to know about? Any ideas as to what you think we should be doing to stay in this fight?
Well, I think after Saturday morning, Winston Peters will have ended dangling whatever he's dangling, recognising a Palestinian state. And I think that we have to move on, maintain our movement forward, demanding sanctions. Yes. I think there will be a big march on the Harbour Bridge, and we need to build that into the biggest march New Zealand has ever seen. And in the middle of October, we have a court case coming up at the High Court in Auckland, where we're taking the super fund to court. I mean, it's just unbelievable that we still have investors in New Zealand who are investing in companies that the United Nations have identified as being complicit in building and maintaining illegal Israeli settlements on Palestinian land. Yes. And it's an absolute shame that our sovereign wealth funds are part of that problem. So there is a lot happening, and it's forward with sanctions. We must demand
Yes.
and continue to demand sanctions.